Hey Jim, you caught me at my desk, so I figured it might be easier just to do a quick video on this. I'll also send along an email with that's going to detail what exactly we would include in the package, but there's a lot of context around all of this stuff, so I figured it might just be easier just to walk through it via video, and you can share this with your guys up there in Canada and see if it's a good fit. But essentially, what you guys are looking at doing is what's called the Wiser 3X. So it's going to be a triaxial wireless route-based device. It's going to generate its own Wi-Fi signal. So it's going to connect directly to a laptop or a tablet or your phone. And from there, you're able to do all of your route-based vibration monitoring and then upload it into our analytical software, Digivibe MX. So with our kit, which I believe is $7,000, but I'll send that along too once I clarify. You're going to get a license for our Digivibe MX with three unique downloads. You're going to get our portable device, and then you're also going to get another wired accelerometer that will plug into this LEMU port here, and that's going to be used as a reference channel for phase analysis or balancing. So this is actually really handy because you're able to do phase analysis on machines while not being right next to a machine. So obviously there's some components that you guys have in all of your plants that are going to represent some sort of safety hazard. So being able to set this up on a machine and then walk, 30 feet away and look at real time data is actually really neat. Something that we get a lot of feedback about is it's just a safer device than what's currently out there. The other good thing with this is that when you guys set up your database internally, so let's take a look at someone's database that I have pulled up. Customer of ours called Bear Global. You would set up your database, and it's going to look a lot like this one. This is purely an online um, database, but essentially your route base is going to look the exact same too. So it's going to have all the historical measures that you'll then be able to open and analyze. Um, and the great thing about what we do that's different than the other guys is that typically your route-based device is going to be tethered to a individual tablet, and obviously you know how expensive those are. What we do that's pretty unique is that we turn your cell phone into a portable device as well. So take a look at this, which is called our Wiser Vibe app. So since it can pair directly to our portable device, you're able to initiate a route using your cell phone. So what that means is that you can have multiple Wiser 3Xs in the plant, and guys are using their cell phone to collect data. So and the I believe the sensor itself costs $2,500. So if you get that license for Digivibe MX that lives on one desktop or one laptop, you can have your guys then go around with multiple sensors and knock out a pretty complex route in a lot less time. And so what they'll do is they'll come back and they'll open up their app and they'll click connect to Wiser Vibe on this. It's going to generate a QR code that you scan within the app using your cell phone's camera, and it's going to literally dump all of the recordings that you guys have made and attach them to the database. So a really unique way of doing that. And then from that, obviously, we have all the analytical tools that you would see on an Emerson device. Emerson likes to say that they are unique in the sense that no one else offers something like a circular time waveform. Well, that's something that we offer, and it is a unique tool for sure. Right, so this is looking at an AC motor, 1750 RPM, and circular time waveform is really good for identifying the identifying the time waveform plotted on a 360-degree um, plot. So we're able to see the individual rotors. If it's bearings, we would be able to see the individual bearings. If it's a gearbox, the individual um, gears. So it's really good for picturing this thing in 3 dimensions. We also offer peak view, just like Emerson does, which is good for looking at bearing faults and stuff like that. So it's going to collect your basic velocity data. It's going to collect acceleration, acceleration envelope, all of that good stuff. So our other functions are going to be an orbit plot, which is a lot similar to a time waveform, except we're comparing to individual channels. You'll use phasing a lot too, obviously comparing the different angles for misalignment or bent shaft, stuff like that. Waterfall is good for picturing. This one probably won't look that great because it's simplistic, but another way of plotting that in a three-dimensional view. And then, of course, the ability to look at this stuff over time. Obviously, that's an important one. So we see that a lot as well, where we can select multiple files and then we can look at those files over time to compare them. That's a useful tool as well. Also, since all of this stuff will be linked most likely to an online database, we have the ability to go in and do all of this stuff for you guys as well. So the two options there are create a local database on a computer, desktop, laptop, doesn't really matter, or use our cloud to set up a database as well. Now, the cloud makes all of the data available to anyone, no matter where they are. So if you've got a guy at home that wants to take a peek into the database in real time, he can. Versus local, the only difference is, you're just avoiding that yearly software fee, which is $1,500. So I mean it's not a huge advantage to have it stored locally. So the other aspect of this is um, because we're using laptop processors, cell phone processors instead of a portable device that most folks are familiar with. We're able to create a much higher resolution data than what's typically been available in the past. So if you look at what we're doing, the default is 51,000 lines of resolution, and we can do that in 2.7 seconds. So, this is actually a big deal practically because if your guys are walking around the plant and you've got hundreds, if not thousands, of points of measurement, historically speaking, you would probably do 1,600 lines of resolution with a traditional device, maybe a little bit more, maybe a little bit less, depending on how quickly you want to get through it. But I mean, you can see ours is going to do that in 0.09 seconds, which is like obviously not very much time at all. But you want to capture as much resolution as possible while being cognizant, obviously, of the data packet size there. But 6,400 lines of resolution is kind of a standard for us, 0.36 seconds, which is wild. So what that means practically is you're going to get your route done a lot quicker and be able to dump this data a lot quicker and get to analyzing that data a lot quicker. That is the quick and dirty on this thing. I could probably get into it more, but that gives you an idea for what the basic capabilities are for the route-based device. And as I mentioned, the good thing with this is that it does marry very well with our online continuous monitoring system. So it gives you kind of the best of both worlds. But I'll send along some pricing and also kind of a description of what you guys will get with this as well. And if you guys have any other questions or if you want to set up a more comprehensive online demonstration, more than happy to do that as well. But thanks for getting back to me and look forward to hearing back from you. Thanks, Jim.